Hello friends, welcome back. Let us now see classical conditioning theory by Ivan Petrovich Pavlov. He is a Russian psychologist. This theory is also known as respondent conditioning or Pavlovian conditioning. This experiment is conducted on dogs. In the previous video I have done Thorndike's theory, trial and error theory, that was conducted on cats. Okay, this theory explains how learning occurs through association between two stimuli. Association means connection between two stimuli. Okay, this demonstrates that a neutral stimulus, we will see what the exact definition afterwards, but for now you remember that this experiments demonstrate that a neutral stimulus can produce a response after repeated association with the natural stimulus. Okay, let us, if you see the experiment, you will understand. So what is the definition? It is a type of learning in which a previously neutral stimuli acquires ability to produce a response. Neutral stimuli means a stimulus which doesn't produce any, which doesn't act. Okay, it acquires the ability to produce a response after being repeatedly paired or associated. Okay, repeatedly paired with a natural stimulus. So what is the key idea of this entire theory? Learning occurs through association, that means connections. Once the stimulus become connected with, one stimulus become connected, so association and connection are the keywords here. One stimulus becomes connected with another stimulus. So these are the keywords: association, stimulus, response, conditioning, reinforcement and reflex action. So we will go into the theory for you all to understand this definition in a better way. Okay. So we have already seen Pavlov, Ivan Petrovich Pavlov is a Russian psychologist. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in physiology or medicine field. So he was awarded the Nobel Prize and he studied the digestive system of dogs. And this classical conditioning theory is accidental theory. So he accidentally discovered while observing salivation. Okay. Then what are the basic assumptions of the stimulus? Learning occurs through association. Behavior can be modified through repeated pairing and responses become automatic after conditioning. That means once the species or the dog has learned something, then it will give the same response. Okay, learning depends on repetition and reinforcement. Okay, reinforcement is awards and rewards and praises. So some of the important terms that are being used throughout the theory is, first thing is stimulus. Stimulus is, the short form is S. Okay, so it is anything that produces or evokes a response in an individual. Okay, so it is a driving factor. Okay, example: food, bell, bright light, loud sound and teacher's voice. Like if students hears teacher's voice, they'll become attentive and they'll become silent. Similarly, if we see tasty food in front of us, we start salivating. So all these are examples of stimulus. Okay, then the next one is response. What is response? Response is a reaction or behavior to the stimulus. So how we react when we see the stimulus. Okay, salivation. When we see tasty food, we salivate. Blinking, smiling, then running away and turning towards a sound. All these are examples of response. Now, what is unconditioned response? Okay, so whenever you see unconditioned, you should understand that it is naturally occurring. Okay, this word unconditioned means naturally occurring. So it is a natural and automatic response produced by an unconditioned stimulus. That means natural stimulus producing natural response. So what are its characteristics? Reflex action. That means it is caused by our reflexes. That means it is natural, it is automatic. Okay, it is automatic. It is unlearned. That means once you learn how to respond to that particular stimulus, you cannot forget it. Okay, then it is inborn. Okay, example, salivation, tears, sneezing, blinking, all these are natural phenomena. Okay, they are not caused by any, they cannot be removed from you. Okay, they all are natural, they all are automatic, they are inborn. Okay, now in Pavlov's experiment, salivation is unconditioned response. So we will see how, what experiment Pavlov has done. Then the next one is unconditioned stimulus, UCS. Okay, it is a natural stimulus that automatically produces a response without any prior learning or training. So individual does not need to learn this stimulus. Whatever is there, it is produced by the nature. Okay, it is not learned. The individual need not put efforts to learn this. I hope it is clear. So, what are the characteristics of unconditioned stimulus? First, it is natural. It does not require any learning. It produces an automatic response and it is present from the time of birth. Same as unconditioned response. Okay. That means examples are food that causes salivation. So, food is the unconditioned stimulus and salivation is unconditioned response. Similar way, onion causes tears, bright light causes blinking, and pinprick causes pains. Hot objects causing withdrawal of the hand. So these are very easy to understand. So in Pavlov's experiment that we are going to see in the coming slides, food is the unconditioned stimulus. Now let's come to neutral stimulus. Neutral stimulus is a stimulus that doesn't produce the response, desired response initially. Okay, that is a neutral stimulus. Before the learning takes place, there is no connection with the response. Even though the stimulus is given, there will be no response. That means, in one word, neutral stimulus is stimulus without response. Okay, is called a neutral stimulus. You have to remember this. Okay, what are the characteristics? It does not produce the target response. I mean, desired response it will not produce, and it becomes meaningful only after repeated association. That means repeated practice, repeated association with known things, it will produce the stimulus. It can later become a conditioned stimulus. That means the organism or whatever the person will, after practicing, after associating with different known things, then it will become a permanent stimulus. That means a conditioned stimulus. We are conditioning the response in the way we want it. Okay, bell before conditioning. That means without telling why the bell, without telling why the teacher is ringing the bell, even if you ring the bell 100 times, students will not respond in the right way. Okay, whistle before training. If you want the, suppose in a running race, if you want the runners to run after the whistle sound is given, you have to tell first why the whistle is being given. Only then the people will start, the runners will start running. Okay, flashing light before association and buzzer before conditioning. So we will see this. Now in the Pavlov's experiment, bell is the neutral stimulus. So these terms are very important, and once we discuss the theory, everything will be clear. So let us see Pavlov's dog experiment. So the aim was how association leads to learning. So association is very important here. So what is the experimental setup? First, a hungry dog was selected. Then food was presented to the dog. Okay, how the food was presented? First, a bell was rung and then the food was presented. This process was repeated multiple times. Okay, what are the observations? When only food was presented without the bell, the dog used to salivate seeing the food. But when bell was given before the food, it used to never salivate with the bell ringing. Okay, that means it is not able to associate the bell with the food in the first instance. Okay, after repeated pairings, that means after repeated trials, just the bell sound would produce saliva in the dog. Okay, so what it means, first bell was given, next food was presented. When bell was rung, no salivation. But when the dog saw food, it salivated. Okay, but after repeated trials, what happened? Just with the bell sound, dog is salivating. Okay, that means the dog is associating bell with the food. That is the whole concept of this theory. Okay, so the dog learned to associate the bell with the food, and learning has occurred through association. So what are the stages of classical conditioning? So before conditioning, that means unconditioned stimulus. That means here you should understand that the dog conditioned itself to the bell. Okay, so before conditioning, that is unconditioned stimulus is the food. Okay, then unconditioned response is the salivation. It is natural. Okay, naturally when somebody is hungry, you see food, you salivate. Same thing the dog is also doing. Okay, natural. This is a natural phenomena. And what is a neutral stimulus? We have seen the definition of the neutral stimulus. What is a neutral stimulus? It is the sound of the bell. That means initially before conditioning, that is when the dog is unconditioned, neutral stimulus is the bell. That means it did not produce any response. You can say here, it did not produce any response. That is the neutral stimulus. Stimulus is given but no response. Okay, so bell alone does not produce salivation in the first stage. Then second stage, during the conditioning process, bell plus food was presented together. Okay, then after some time, dog begins associating the bell with the food, and then its learning process has started. Then stage 3, that is a final stage, condition happened. That means the dog got conditioned. That means you will have conditioned stimulus and conditioned response. Conditioned stimulus is the bell. Conditioned response is salivation. Now, simply ringing the bell, no, the dog started salivating. Okay, this is the condition. Bell alone produces salivation. That means if the bell rings, then food will come. Okay, so this is the stage 3. So you can remember how the 3 stages. I have given an easy way to remember. You can go through. This is a small quick revision table. Now I think after learning the theory, this table will become easy to you. You can go through. Important concept of classical conditioning. So you have to remember all these terms: acquisition, extinction, spontaneous recovery, generalization, and discrimination. So let us see one by one. What is acquisition? Acquisition is the initial stage of learning. Okay, here association happens between conditioned stimulus and unconditioned stimulus. That means what happens is repeated pairing of both of them will strengthen the learning. That means food and the bell. Food and the bell should be given together to strengthen the learning. That then the dog understood that if bell is rung, food will be given. Okay. Next stage is extinction. Very important. You just try to understand it. Conditioned response. See, conditioned response will gradually decrease. Okay, will gradually disappear when conditioned stimulus is repeatedly presented without unconditioned stimulus. Without unconditioned stimulus. That means, see, you continuously ring the bell. You first what Pavlov has done, he rang the bell and he presented the food. Okay, then the dog started associating the food with the bell. So next step what Pavlov did is he rang the bell without the food. So in initial stages, when it heard the bell, it used to salivate automatically. Even the food is not there, it used to salivate just with the sound of the bell. Okay. Next, gradually, Pavlov repeated the same thing. He used to ring the bell without the food. What it did, he understood that even though the bell is ringing, I'm not getting food. So what it did, it slowly started deconditioning itself. Okay, that means it started to reach the stage of extinction. So at the end of this deconditioning process, what it did, even though the bell is ringing, it stopped salivating because no food is there. Okay, so that is extinction. The next one is spontaneous recovery. Extinguished condition, that means even though the bell is ringing, if when the bell rings, food is not there, it will decondition itself and it will, after a certain period of time, it it will extinct, that behavior will become extinct. That means it will not salivate even the bell, even at the ringing of the bell. Okay, now this extinguished condition response will reappear after a rest period. That means after this period, no, if you give a certain gap of some days or some time, you give certain gap and again ring the bell without the food, no, the dog will start salivating. That means that previous memories will come back to it. Okay, that is spontaneous recovery. The next important one is generalization. Okay, that means similar stimuli produce the same conditioned response. Dog salivates to the bell with similar sound. Okay, different kinds of bell you use also. It has associated with the sound, not with the bell. So whatever type of bell you use, it will start salivating. That means it will generalize the sound. Then discrimination. Learner responds only to specific conditioned stimulus. Okay, dog salivates only to one particular bell. The sound is similar. You change the type of bell also, it will associate only to that bell kind of a sound. Okay, that is discrimination. It will be able to discriminate between bell sound and some other sound. Whistle sound. If you give whistle, it will not associate again. It will only identify bell sound. So these are the characteristics of classical conditioning. Learning occurs through association and automatic responses. That is the reflex responses, and it requires repeated pairing of stimuli, and behavior is controlled by external stimulus. The stimulus that we are providing is external, that is the food. And learning is gradual. It cannot happen all at once. And reinforcement, that is rewards, praises, appraisals, all of them will strengthen the conditioning. Then it is applicable to both humans and animals, and it mainly explains the involuntary behavior. So these are the examples. Now, what are the advantages of this theory? It is a scientifically proven theory. It is simple and easy. It explains about habit formation. Then it is useful for classroom management, and it helps in modifying the undesirable behavior, and it is applicable in counseling and therapy sessions. What are the demerits? It is mainly based on animal experiments. Okay, we cannot generalize everything that animal does on human beings. It ignores thinking and reasoning. Okay, it is simply rote learning kind of a thing. Okay, thinking, reasoning, creative thinking, it is not involving those. Okay, it is rote learning, mugging up kind of a learning. It explains only involuntary responses. It does not explain complex learning. Okay, it gives less importance to intelligence and creativity. That I've already told you that it emphasizes rote learning and memorization kind of thing. Okay, then what are the classroom applications? Habit formation, moral education, classroom discipline, behavior modification, emotional development of the student, and positive reinforcement, and learning of languages, and it helps students adjusting to school routines. Okay, what a teacher should do, she should associate learning with enjoyable experiences. She should avoid creating fear in classrooms. She should use rewards appropriately, and she should encourage positive attitude. She should create emotionally safe environment. I hope you find it useful. Please like, share and subscribe.